Hi, this is Alex from devstories.eu, LangChain v1.0 Orchestration Framework, Episode 9 of 20. Building software that relies on parsing natural language responses with regular expressions is a ticking bomb. You ask a language model for a simple data object, and it gives you perfect data, except it adds a polite greeting at the beginning and wraps the whole thing in Markdown formatting. Your parser crashes instantly. Guaranteed data formats are how you fix this permanently. Structured output forces the language model to return information exactly the way your application expects it. It turns unpredictable text generation into reliable software objects. Consider a system that processes inbound customer support messages. A user sends a messy, unstructured paragraph complaining about a login issue, but burying their name, email address, and phone number somewhere in the text. You need those three pieces of data to trigger a database lookup. Instead of writing a complex prompt begging the model to format its response correctly, you define a standard Pydantic model. You create a class called contact info and define name, email, and phone as required fields. Then you simply pass this Pydantic schema to the response format parameter of your language model configuration. You do not need to provide examples or write custom validation scripts. This is the part that matters. When you supply that Pydantic schema, LangChain automatically determines the most reliable way to enforce it. It does this by quietly selecting between two different execution paths. First, it checks if your chosen language model has an official structured output feature built into its API. If it does, LangChain auto-selects the provider strategy. This strategy pushes your schema directly to the provider, leveraging their native server-side constraints to guarantee the output format. But hardware changes and models get swapped. If you decide to use a different model that lacks native structured output, LangChain detects this capability gap. It automatically falls back to the tool strategy. Under the hood, it translates your contact info schema into a function signature. It tells the model about a fake tool that requires exactly a name, an email, and a phone number to run. The model attempts to call this tool, and in doing so, generates the exact structured arguments you need. Your application code never has to change to accommodate the swap. When the operation completes, developers often look in the wrong place for their data. You might assume the output is returned as raw text that you still have to parse. It is not raw text. LangChain intercepts the payload and instantiates the Pydantic object for you. It places this fully validated Python object directly into your application state. You will find it captured in the structured response key of your state dictionary. You simply reference that key, and you immediately have your contact info object with type-safe fields ready to pass to the rest of your application. By shifting the burden of schema validation away from custom parsing logic and into the framework layer, your language model integrations become as predictable as a standard API call. Appreciate you listening. Catch you next time.